I guess we can't really not address what's happening in America right now. Um, I think the images and stuff we're witnessing are like. The question is are we witnessing the actual collapse of America?
Um, yeah, it's like I feel like the the images that in the like they're like sort of the type of thing that you've seen in movies before.
Yeah, exactly. If Hollywood is our unconscious, right? Our unconscious mind, our dreams and visions as a collective people, Hollywood is always showing us what it thinks we want to see.
Yeah,
And all we've been obsessed with for the last fucking at least 10 years is the apocalypse, societal destruction, whether it be through a virus, a climate, ecological catastrophe, economic catastrophe, or like doomsday preppers, Independence Day, Contagion. Like it never ends. We're just obsessed. Walking Dead. We're obsessed with societal collapse, and then you see what's happening with coronavirus and you see what's happening with these riots right now and mass destruction and the deployment of the military. And it's like seeing a movie. It's like watching a movie you've already seen. If that
yeah,
makes
it's like
sense.
the real life version of it triggers nostalgia for the film. So
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this reminds me of Independence Day, but it's 9/11 or whatever. Or like when COVID-19, you're like, oh, it reminds me of Contagion.
Yeah.
And
And
then this one reminds me of The Purge or something.
yeah, it's like Children of Men and movies like that, like where you see mass deployment of soldiers on the streets of America. And then you
Well,
see
that
the
was
I think there's a
your
fascinating link towards the collective unconscious or the collective dreams, visions, and nightmares of a society and Hollywood, of American society and Hollywood.
yeah, it was like what you were saying as well, like um, where you were saying like what kind of apocalyptic flavor is this?
Mm.
Because there's different like spectrum, like on the spectrum, like you've got your Independence Day like kind of thing, like Armageddon type on one end.
Yeah, it's all over if this happens, kind of thing,
It's all
instantly,
over.
bang.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
and just and it's like
yeah. The other
well,
one
what?
where the whole, I forget it was tomorrow or something. I forget what it was called, but it was just the poles of the Earth switched one day. It's like the
Yeah,
2012 vision,
that one I would say is a
instant apocalypse, mass destruction, atomic bombs.
yeah, that the day after tomorrow one, that's a big one. You've got to
Yeah,
be prepared.
yeah,
But like because it's a
yeah,
bit like even doomsday preppers are fucked for that. Like a
yeah,
tidal wave coming at you. It doesn't matter how many cans of cannellini beans you have, you know? Like it
yeah.
doesn't matter how good your bunker is, you're fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah,
Unless like John Cusack comes over to your place in a car and
yeah. He chooses you, kind of thing.
yeah. Um
He picks you out.
yeah.
I guess in that case, you want to be a good-looking leading woman, probably, because that's who he's probably going to be rescuing.
Probably yeah, he's probably not looking to save an unemployed red nut. But yeah, that's the other but yeah,
Yeah,
it's like there's that spectrum because then probably the one of the best ones is Children of Men because in Children of Men it's got like a hyper realism to it of like this could actually be the case where you've still got your Coca-Cola and your Pepsi ads everywhere, but you've got militarized police at the McDonald's saying order your fucking meal.
as society degrades, infrastructure becomes worsens, more and more people are unemployed and disenfranchised, unrest becomes more and more commonplace. The military are deployed so that the limited everyday functions of, you know, people can be protected by the military. Like when Trump just deployed the military so he could go to church. Obviously, that's an extreme. That's what just happened. An extreme example, but that could be if society becomes so dysfunctional, that could be the everyday. I mean, I saw a sign up in America, Pepsi sponsoring COVID testing centers, like Pepsi COVID testing center. Like it's fucking so. Yeah, it's this weird thing of like where there's remnants of the society, but it's protected by an authoritarian military apparatus to protect it from the dysfunction that's become so big that you need men with guns to actually protect everyday life from
Yeah, you
thousands and
get
thousands of people.
well, yeah, because that's totally like because I think children of men, yeah, it's almost demonstrating how adaptable capitalism is to whatever political system it's given. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, we can deal with like, yeah, you can go out and do whatever you want. We can deal with that, but we can also deal with police state, gun to your head, have a fucking cheeseburger.
Which is like that Pepsi ad where famously ridiculed because there was a race riot and just general unrest, and then a woman has a remember that famous, I forget it was it one of
Yeah,
the Jenners? You know, there's like
Jennifer,
there's
Jenna,
like
Kylie Jenner.
Kardashian. Yeah, I forget them all mixed up.
Yeah,
Anyway, one of those people that have heaps of money for doing nothing and will be the first people who are killed in this new revolution. Anyway, one of those people just has a Pepsi, and all the people just suddenly, the black, the white people, the police, all get along. That'll be the future of consumerism as we enter the collapse of America. It'll be like, get your apocalyptic Coca-Cola gas mask, sponsored
yeah,
by
yeah. There'll
Coke.
be
Buy a carton of Coke and you get a free gas mask to be able to breathe in the new toxic wasteland.
yeah. They'll just incorporate like they'll just be people in military uniforms in Subway ads, like
Yeah,
Subway eat fresh. And there's like a guy with like an armed machine gun, like
yeah. There's a
making sure.
guy who's like just one of the military police of the authoritarian government, like goofily puts down his gun and is like, "Whoa," and tries like a foot long.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they weirdly incorporate but
yeah,
I'm not
totally.
trying to make light of what's happening in America, but I'm just trying to say that what I see is more than just a riot, a protest against racism. That's part of it. But I see, when I look at America, I've seen this, and foreign powers have something to do with it. The corruption of the democracy, the Trump being elected and being divisive and authoritarian and inciting, you know, extremism. People who are either love him or hate him. All massive wealth inequality, and so this riot has just brought all of that to the surface. So you've got people that are really poor and need things rioting and looting. You've got people that are just disenfranchised, smashing up the place. You've got people legitimately protesting racism. You've got Democrats and Republicans unable to function, to come to any agreement. You've got almost every issue has just come to the surface here. And I don't see how America's going to suddenly be unified unless I don't know, they have some great leader come in and sort of make it, but Obama comes back or something and makes a great speech. Something like, how do you unify this country?
Yeah, it's like I think he's good at like doing speeches to like fans,
Yeah.
like only.
Yeah.
Like it's got
He
to be
plays to
his
the back
crowd.
of the room.
Yeah,
He
he's got to
pays to
play to
his
his crowd.
people. Well,
Yeah, he's like yeah, he's got a following, I guess. Like he's a cult speaker.
yeah.
He can't do like the broad Michael McIntyre type, get everyone in there, like with the relatability type thing.
Oh, fuck.
But
Yeah.
it does matter who the leader is, eh? Like usually it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't change the fabric of day to day life. Like if it's Labor or Liberal here, you don't feel like it's not like coffee tastes different or whatever.
No, there's not a remarkable difference.
Yeah, you're not like, oh, this tastes like Anthony Albanese is in power. Like there's no,
But in
you can't
America,
feel
you're saying you feel the difference in everyday life when Trump's in
right.
power.
I reckon you would feel this. You'd feel it because there'd be like a car on fire outside. You'd be like, oh yeah, this is Trump. like it sort of changes your day to day, like you're jogging through like an inferno.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I think, you used an extreme example there, but when I was in LA and North Carolina and stuff like that during like like during Trump's presidency, but actually specifically on their Independence Day, I was there, and you do feel it in the air. Tensions are high because you're either
Yeah.
for Trump or you're against him. And and I noticed when North Carolina people were waving Trump flags everywhere, and that's a provocative and controversial act, and that just points to how divisive he is. So then you've got that, and then you've got these racial lines that have been a huge problem in America forever, and then you've got wealth inequality. And then you've got a society that's a consumer society that's bombarded with images every day of advertising and celebrities that have the latest shoes and clothes. And then when this society breaks down like it is at the moment, people go and rob Nike stores and stuff, because they want to be a part of this consumer society they've been promised, but they haven't got the money, and people are unemployed from coronavirus. So it's like a perfect storm of every
Yeah, it's
problem of America has coming out at once. Do you think
interesting as well.
there's some truth in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think also like, well, firstly, it's weird because say if you do get like, a new TV or whatever from looting, it's like if you improve your status with that consumer product, it doesn't matter if the world's in flames. Like, is there status in a post-apocalyptic world?
Right.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's got the new Adidas shoes.
The answer is no, and I think it's a really interesting point because, yeah, if this society continues to disintegrate in America, the points of value of, like, say, material goods or art or anything, if the society around it has degraded, none of it means anything. It's actually a great moment in the film Children of Men when one of the rich people that are protected by the authoritarian police from the hordes of refugees and people that are poor, and like the rich people, one of them bought the statue of David, and there's a great point where that statue, you realize, is meaningless in a society that's collapsed around it. It's like it's just a bit of marble now. Who cares? If
Right.
society can't function, people can't eat, people can't revere art, society is about basic survival, then it's just the society around it. If it is
Well,
not functioning, then it doesn't
if you've
matter.
got
It's just a bunch of
tribal
marble.
yeah, like if you've got like a series of tribal warlords, um, making their own ideas of what's valuable. It's just the idea of the old ideas of status are just irrelevant.
Right.
Like it could be some other metric, like
Yeah,
how many
totally.
wives
It
you
could
have
be
or whatever.
water.
Yeah.
How much water you have.
It could, yeah, it could be like like you could have cash and it's just not worth anything because no one cares about it anymore.
Now we're talking about real. Hopefully, America doesn't break down into a series of local warlords and stuff.
That's a bit beyond Children of Men, isn't it? Because Children of Men is on the path to that, but still has that semblance of like a police state, yet you can still go to Macca's.
Children of Men is like if we took our society right now and the number of global refugees due to climate catastrophe, the unemployed, and the people that are no longer able to function in society become so great that there needs to be a military to protect the people that are lucky enough and privileged enough just to function. There needs to be mass security and permanent state of what do they call it? Like when a city or a state or a country goes into a permanent state of emergency. So the government
Yeah,
has permanent emergency powers.
but yeah, you can still go to a food court or whatever.
Right. You
It's
can
just
still
not.
go to Macca's. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's. I feel like that's probably the more likely apocalyptic outcome.
America gradually dilapidates and needs increasing strong military presence to to fight off the hordes of the the unemployed, the disenfranchised, the people that are left out in the dark from a society that can no longer capture them. And it's
Yeah,
terrifying, man. It's
like
terrifying.
you'll still be able to visit, but it'll be like in the same way you can visit North Korea, get like a
Dark
72-hour
tourism.
visa. Yeah,
Yeah,
to Pyongyang.
yeah,
They'll be like, this
like
is Chernobyl. It's like the White House. It's like just dilapidated, like
yeah.
needs renovation.
America becomes a place you visit for dark tourism. I mean, I wonder what this means then. I mean, if America can't truly recover from this and just continues gradually to disintegrate, what do you think that means for Australia?
Yeah, it's weird, eh? Like, because you can't just exist as an independent, thriving metropolis that's like separate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Australia gets all of its cultural cues from America.
So then do we just turn to China?
What's
Like,
up?
does China become
The new,
is this the final stages of China taking over as the world power? I wonder what that means.
yeah, it's yeah, because I think there's no way that you can. It's like in the same way like Australia and New Zealand have kind of separated from the world almost because they're two countries that are part of the elite, the COVID elite response. Like the response was elite
Right. I see what you
comparatively.
mean. Yeah.
It's like, can you just separate from the world as the rest of the world burns and become like a self-isolated, self-sustainable thing? You know what I mean? Like it almost seems like crazy to not have that, like the supply lines and all that between.
Yeah. Well, the answer to your question is, I mean, I think surely yes, you could become isolated and you could sustain a complete society and function with enough
I
food
tried.
and, you know.
I tried to order a beanie the other day, and from a website called hatsaustralia.com.
Mm.
And I was like, well, that's perfect. Hats Australia, that's me. I'm Australian and I need a hat. Like, that'll be a thing. So I ordered it, and then it just sent me an email saying it's not coming, but we've charged you.
Wow.
Because they're like,
What
so
does
they're
that
like,
mean?
thanks
I
for
don't even
purchasing.
understand.
Well, you know that you get that email. It's like, thanks for purchasing from Hats Australia, $40 for or whatever for the beanie. You know, like it's the little like confirmation receipt thing. And then it just said, unfortunately, it's not coming because we're in Sweden.
So it can't be
And
sent due to COVID.
yeah, so then I rang them up, and they were like, "Hello, yeah, it's like we've got your Buddha beanie store." And I'm like, yeah, I just got one and you've charged me and you're saying it's not coming. She's like, yeah, it's like, we're really not going to send it to her, like, until like, yeah, we don't, yeah, we're not giving, you can't, it's closed. I'm like, oh, that's really rude for you
That's
to sort of,
and so in the event that America becomes, where Australia and New Zealand becomes isolated in this dilapidated world and China takes over, you're saying that it's going to be a lot harder to get beanies and shit. Like there's all the stuff that we
yeah,
won't get anymore.
yeah, like you'll be
Like,
like,
you know, you're not going to get HBO. Like there's not going to be a new season Game of Thrones coming from America if it's like Game of Thrones. You know, it's funny. I tried to make a joke. Like, this is fucked up actually now. Actually, now while it's happening, it's probably in bad taste. But I did make a joke that no one ever laughed at about how I thought Game of Thrones was a documentary about America.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because, you know, because it's so, but it's just like, if you said that now, it would actually be a dark but funny, darkly funny joke because of it's so degraded and become so chaotic.
Right. Yeah. And it's almost, as you said, shifted to can you make Game of Thrones during Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? Like,
I only say that because I look at America's exports, and America's exports are like technological, but also very cultural, and they're weirdly intertwined. But you know, and like if America becomes, dysfunctional, like we will lose that. Like, can you expect the continuing TV
Right.
shows?
So you
Because reality bleeds into the TV shows now.
right. So if you ring up, so it's like me ringing up America and going, "Yeah, do you guys have the latest season of Curb Your
Right.
Enthusiasm? I just want to watch that." And then they're like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, Larry David's on fire
Exactly.
right now." So
Or
you're like, "Oh,
the latest season just has glimpses of, like, he steps outside and the military authoritarian permanently deployed military force that protects citizens from the ongoing chaos of society are like, hey, why can't I park here? Well, you can't park here, sir. It's a emergency zone for authoritarian military police. Yeah, but you said I could park. Like it's bought into the comedy. One point.
like he
Like a
scares him,
tank.
like, dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll definitely make Curb more interesting. But also, like, I feel like Curb will be really good at incorporating like COVID-19 stuff because it's all about queuing and distancing and hygiene,
Yeah.
which is perfect for
Oh,
Larry.
it's perfect.
Like the queuing. Like I've noticed, like queues are really weird now. Like because to be in the queue, you've got to be so far away from the other person in the queue that it looks like some people have already ordered and some people haven't. So you can't work out who's ordered yet. So there's like people on their phone and shit in the queue, but they've already ordered, but they're distant. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now you'll have there's people blocking your way and they've already ordered, but you don't know.
So
So you're
what you
having to ask it.
so it's what you're saying is the next Curb season's going to be the best because of the pandemic and the collapse of America. It's going to have the ripest
Awkwardness.
social faux pas.
Right. This is a hotbed of faux pas.
Yeah. We are witnessing history, man, unfold right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, eh? Like, because you kind of want to be in that golden period of like where nothing happens.
I think we were our generation for a long time,
Yeah.
but I think we're witnessing, like, every generation. This is our World War II or whatever. You know what's crazy is, like, things were always crazier. Like, America actually had a civil war over freeing slaves, right? That was what that war
Yeah.
was about, where they formed armies and America like fought a war inside itself. Like, that's crazy. And then the Cold
Yeah.
War, in World War II, the Nazis went to war with America, and Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Like, imagine if that happened. And then there was a Cold War where there was ongoing concern and real risk that there would be a nuclear apocalypse. So, like, it's
Yeah.
so long ago now that it doesn't seem. But you think about, imagine if America said, we're going to go to war now against ourselves with the pro-Trump and non-pro-Trump conservative Democrat war. And
Mm.
America had and the southern states and the northern states armed and actually went to war. That's what happened. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that it's easy to forget that that
Yeah,
that
there's that
the world
Steven
has always
Pinker.
been fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's that Steven Pinker idea, which I think is like sort of elite globalist thinking, which is that. So like, I think it's sort of that weird like it's like that Davos retreat type thinking, like where the elites like talk about like theories and stuff. So I think that his idea is like, that everything gets better with time
His idea is
because of
that, yeah, that violence and chaos and culturally accepted evil of rape, violence, murder has slowly decreased, and war has slowly decreased over time.
yeah, yeah. And like I think he's almost been proven wrong, but in a weird way right as well, because he's wrong in the sense that things are getting really bad now, but maybe right in the sense that then they are really bad, but the volume's turned down on what it was 200 years ago or whatever? Like it's still a better
Yeah.
form or a really bad thing?
Yeah. On average, it's right now is not as bad as per capita kind of thing as say World War II, or then go back to Genghis Khan, who just murdered and raped everyone in the world.
Yeah, it's like Richard Dawkins was saying something like Hitler would have seemed like a humanist to Genghis Khan because he would have been like, oh, like it's like you put them in shelter, like really, like you feed
That's
them.
so crazy. I
You know
love
what I
that
mean?
idea.
Because Genghis
Yeah,
Khan
because
was like he'd rip your head off,
yeah,
like he'd come to your house, your hut, and just rip your head right off, and then
yeah,
like drink your body or whatever.
yeah.
So he would have
Whereas
looked at Hitler and gone, "Who's this? Who's this greenie? This pinko
this
commie?
lefty,
The left wing loon."
during all this chaos and bad news, I thought it'd be good to do a couple of articles that were more lighthearted and fun. The NRL has returned, and it's the only sport being played in the entire world,
300 million eyeballs glued to the first game,
which is what I
apparently.
think the NRL always wanted, was just to be the only sport. They're the kind of sport that would happily destroy and devour other sports to be the only one left.
Yeah, they're a cannibalistic sport. They would eat badminton for breakfast.
Yep. And as part of it is that there's no crowd. There's no crowd allowed because of the corona restrictions. So they've allowed fans to pay for cardboard cutouts, pictures of whoever they want, whoever, celebrities, them, other football players they idolize, cardboard cutouts they can pay to have them in the crowd, and they'll be shown during the broadcast. So you could go, Dan Rath could go, I've got a cardboard cutout of my favorite player, James Tedesco, and I've paid to have him in the crowd. And they'd cut to it in the broadcast, and you'd see a cardboard cutout of Tedesco sitting in the crowd amongst everyone else who's paid to have a cardboard cutout put up. Does
So
that
the
make
idea is
sense?
I get early access to my super to pay for James Tedesco to be my avatar for the big opening game.
The idea that you would do
Agree
that.
one thing away from having a carer. Like I shouldn't be allowed to make those decisions. Do you know what I mean? There should be
Mm.
someone going, "Don't. You need to spend that on doomsday prepping."
Need to spend that on food. So some people have paid for, and these people, as a joke, which I think is actually incredibly funny and smart, have actually paid to have. They've actually got serial killers. So they've sent in their image, and it's actually been a serial killer, and obviously the NRL haven't noticed, and
They're
they've
up to
put
date.
cardboard cutouts of famous serial killers in the crowd of cardboard cutouts, which is
Yeah.
so funny. It's such a funny bit, like as an audience member.
Oh yeah. It's a bit of Guess Who for the people at home.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that there's now every country in the world is watching NRL because there's nothing else on. So they've got millions, like you said, I think 300 million people tuning in to see the NRL, and then they'll cut to the cardboard cutouts and see Ted Bundy. And if you don't know NRL and you've never watched it before, you'd be like, why is Ted Bundy, like, is he significant to NRL? Like, did he play, or was he a big fan of NRL? Like, why is he in the crowd? Like, no, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, Ted Bundy rum. Like he's sort of doing promo for the alcohol. It's like, oh, it's Ted Bundy rum, Bundy and Coke, or whatever. It must be a new
Yeah.
sponsorship deal with
That,
serial killers sponsoring different drinks,
yeah, yeah. Ted
like
Bundy
Don
rum.
Wayne Bacardi.
Have a Ted
Yeah,
Bundy rum.
Jeffrey Dahmer Tui.
That's that'd be a brilliant matchup, wouldn't it? As a way of getting publicity. for the drink. You
Oh,
might have seen that biopic about Ted Bundy. Well, why don't you try our Ted Bundy rum?
yeah. It'll make you want to kill your missus. Like that's the connection. You know what I
but
mean? Like, because
that's
also
already like rum drinkers have a notorious reputation for domestic violence. So maybe it's like
meet the guy.
targeting.
Yeah, this guy's got more AVOs than the whole team combined.
Have a Ted
Like,
Bundy
yes,
rum.
um, yeah, I was really, happy to see it back. And like they predicted it, and they stood by it. Do you know what I mean? There's something cool about going like we're coming back on the 28th of May, and
Mm.
then they're back. Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
something good in the world where it's like we're doing this, and then it
And everyone's
happens.
like, no, you're not. You can't do it. It's not right. You shouldn't do it. And then they're like, no, we fucking are. And we did. It's very
Yeah,
NRL attitude. I like it.
it's like we are going to go in the face of mass like social disapproval, but we're doing it on the 28th of May. Like that guy
Tune
is a
in or
hero.
don't. Ted Bundy will be in the crowd. Check it out.
We're going to have a bunch of people who are up on parole that are
In the
going to be.
crowd as cardboard cutouts. It's going to be very confusing. In more light-hearted news, I found this in the Gold Coast Bulletin today. Top doc's surprise cruise ship verdict. The doctor sent to contain the coronavirus outbreaks on the Ruby Princess and Diamond Princess and Grand Princess, a lot of princes, the whole royal family there, have revealed that he would have no issues on taking a cruise. And it's got pictures of him like on cruises with thumbs up and him in a full hazmat suit, double thumbs up on the cruise ship. And that struck me as extremely baffling. Why would the doctor
Yeah,
send on the Ruby Princess a floating living nightmare of people stranded, unable to leave with gastro, coronavirus, deaths, like people died on the Ruby Princess? Why would you come out as the chief doctor and go, you know what? I wouldn't mind going again.
again, again. It's like
It's
yeah,
like
he's
this in the
forgotten.
pictures. It, on has
That's one for the readers, eh? That's one like for
that's
people who are
targeted at
worried.
Gold Coast Bulletin readers who they advertise cruise ship cruises to. It's getting the best person possible going. It's not. I go back. It reminds me of Event Horizon, that movie with Sam Neill, where they go to visit a ship that's gone to another dimension that he created, and he gets on the ship, and it's an actual nightmare. The crew start killing each other. People start violently dying. They tear their own eyes out, but he wants to stay because he gets
Yeah,
seduced by the ship after he rips his own eyes out. And there's that famous line that's used in pop culture where they go, come on, doctor, we've got to go home. And he goes, I'm already home, and disappears into the shadows of the ship. That's kind of
yeah.
what this doctor's kind of, I think, must be like.
He feels like ET on land, like he's in Mooloolaba going, fuck, like I'm not at home, like I need to
Yeah,
go back.
I need to go back to the dark heart of the Ruby Princess.
My home is a floating petri dish of
He's
nightmares, and
he's he's standing around at the buffet, and the doctor's like, "Stay away from the buffet. It's riddled with disease. Come home. I'm already home." And he picks up a chicken wing and disappears into the.
takes down a chicken wing, picks up a chicken wing, and then settles down for 3 hours of juggling.
Yeah, he rips his own eyes out and then goes to see the comedian. The onboard ship entertainment. Everyone's ripped their own eyes out like an Event Horizon, and they're all imagining as they hear the
Yeah,
comedian. So anyway, it's crazy right now. Everyone's ripped their own eyes out. It's lucky because I'm not a prop comic.
all you need is a set of ears, which I can see you're puncturing with chopsticks in the back there. Yeah, like
Uh,
it's that's one for the readers because the Gold Coast Bull. I feel like the people who read that are like really looking forward to another cruise. Like for them, life is just brief stints on land punctuated by cruises.
right. They're waiting
Like
for the next cruise, and they've got this doctor to go. It's okay.
it's like
And
what you were saying. Like the Australian wouldn't take that.
No, the
view that you're
Australian would
like,
take the stance of deranged doctor makes outrageous claims, possibly receiving money from the cruise ship industry. Do not go like, and all the Australian readers are like, yeah, good, the scum, the peasants going on cruise ships, disgusting cultural vacuums. And then the Goldhurst Bulletin's like, back to buffet. Buffet is back on the Ruby Princess. All go a steam ahead, full steam ahead.
yeah, yeah. It's. I think the Australian would just still support those cruises that they have, where it's like you can spend 4 days with Richard Dawkins, like
At the Galapagos
in the
Islands.
Galapagos. Yeah, like that. It's like those cruises
Yeah.
we're worried about.
They
Different
get
type of
some
cruise.
weird, obscure old archaeologist or classical musical buff, and he's your tour guide. And then you get like, it's a luxury, it's like thousands and thousands of dollars a ticket. And
You
there's
go to
like a
Mauritius.
violinist, and they stop at
Yeah,
weird places that no one would ever want to see, like, the
yeah.
Arctic.
They. It's like go to the Arctic with David Stratton, who'll be reviewing movies from the 50s as you
Exactly.
go past an igloo and stuff like that.
Are
Like it's
you
just this weird.
slowly dying and just want to sit while culture and scenes and stuff just move around you? It's that kind of thing. Or it's just like, I'm old, I'm tired, I've got so much money, I just want to sit and shit. Like, I see mountains and icebergs, and Stratton and Richard Dawkins are around, and it's just like in the comfort of your chair.
You're at the age where you're like too tired to read, but you want to be a passive vessel for highbrow culture. You just want it to like sort of sift. Like you're like, oh, Tchaikovsky's Fifth. Like you just want to, but like you can't think straight anymore.
Right.
Like you've got dementia, but you're still enjoying sort of like someone analyze culture.
I kind of feel like the Ruby Princess and that cruise ship with the buffet, the pool, the gym, the on ship, and that's kind of like get up and go kind of patrons. They're not sitting back while scenery and ideas float around them. They're fucking in the pool with a beer. Fucking, oh, I ate too much of the buffet. I've got diarrhea now. Good, I'm doing something. Thank
I've
God.
got
Good.
I'm a belly full of prawns. I'm on the pokie machine. My husband's passed out on the poke. He's on the floor. He's pissed. He's 75. This is great.
Perfect.
Yeah, they fall off their chairs because they're so pissed
Yeah.
on the cruise.
Yeah. They're getting into it.
It would be weird if the two cruises like crashed at sea, like they crashed into each other. So you've got like the part because one of them they're just like they're listening to like Grease Lightning and stuff. There's some going on, go Grease Lightning, but he's like got like a hip condition and stuff. Like he's like had a fall and he's just like,
Yeah.
oh Grease. It's that kind of like really awful stuff,
And then the other ship is like, "Da-na-na," like classical music, and Dawkins like, presumably the atmosphere around this area is quite prepared for the seabirds and they evolved from bats.
It seems we've had a disaster.
There'd be a lot of Christians on the Ruby Princess that would like to have a word to old Dawkins if the ships crashed and they all had to stay together on one of the ships.
Oh, and they could cross over. And there'd
Yeah,
be
like there was a cross pollination of the Ruby Princess and the other highbrow cruise ship, and Richard Dawkins had to stay with all the people from the Ruby Princess, going, yeah, no fucking God, eh? No fucking God, is there, Dawkins? Well, presumably there's no evidence, is there? There's presumably no evidence whatsoever. You could say that there's a teacup floating around the sun. You've got no evidence to prove me wrong, so it must be true.
Spaghetti monster is a construct. It's a mere construct. It might as well be a flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah, I'd fucking eat spaghetti, you fucking dog cunt, Dawkins. Fucking, you have a look around here, have a look at the fucking beautiful fucking mountains and shit, and tell me there isn't a God, you fucking, like that attitude.
Was I having a fucking cocktail on a slippery dip just fucking hours ago if there's no grand creator? You explain that, you fucking cockhead, you dog.
I just had a cocktail on a slippery dip.
And
there must be a God.
There must be a God. I'm in fucking heaven, mate. I'm in heaven. I'm fucking sick as a dog. But yeah, no, like it's just like that because it's just it'd be a funny mix of clientele. You've got like, you know, a hedge fund trader who's in his 70s who's losing his marbles but paid 15 grand for a 3-day Arctic tour.
And then a bogan who won a ticket at the local meat raffle to come on board, who's filled up on prawns and is squirting shit out of his asshole because he's got gastro and he's drinking rums, but he's still loving it, floating in a pool. And then trying to have a chat with fucking Richard Dawkins at the buffet going, yeah, it's fucking not bad, is it? It's fucking not, you know, they do that. It's fucking not bad.
It's a cheap steak dinner, mate. You get just fucking value.
It's not a bad
About,
deal.
it's all you can eat, mate.